Welcome back to Boy Band Break, where we encourage you to take a break from your day and join us in some boy band conversation. As always, my name's Diane.
I'm Cinzia.
I'm Sophia.
And I'm Lydia, aka Mama Lou.
So, another super, super exciting episode that we have for you guys today. Recently, Cinzia and Lydia had a chance to have a little bit of a Zoom chat with Brad Fischetti he is the remaining member of LFO. So we're just gonna jump right into that little interview, let you guys hear what they talked about, and then we'll come back on after and we'll discuss all the exciting details.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Brad.
So what are your names?
So I'm Cinzia.
And I'm Lydia.
Cinzia and Lydia. You guys are like best buddies, or what's the story?
We're sisters.
Wait, ask us if we're sisters.
Are you sisters?
No.
Yes, man.
It was a night at the Roxbury.
Oh, okay. Are you really sisters?
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so we live in Canada, about an hour from Toronto, an hour from Niagara Falls. So yeah, and you're in Florida now, or?
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice! Yay!
Cool. Very cool.
My our parents, they have a condo in Florida, and my dad always steals the Honey Bell oranges because they're the best. I guess in January or something.
January is the only
time. And January is the only time because they don't ship them because the rine's really thin. Anyways, not super important. Sorry. Okay, let's get back.
So how's your day going?
Yeah, sorry.
You had a lot of these calls today.
I had one. I tried to spread it out over multiple days.
Yeah, so you don't stress out. That's fine.
I was supposed to have one at 10, so came over here to the studio and got set up, and then I got this notification that I got moved to next week.
Oh, geez.
So that's cool. So I just did some other stuff here in the studio, and then and I got you guys and maybe I think 3 more after lunch. So
nice.
It's nice.
Yeah,
it's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, I just want to say we really enjoyed the LFO story that you did. What was that? April 30th, I think. We missed part of it because we were having internet issues. Are you ever going to re-release that, or is that going to be the basis of your shows going forward, or was that just kind of a one-time event?
So that event had 2 main reasons, right? 1A, 1B, 1C. 1A, honor Rich. 1B, honor 1AA, honor Rich, honor Devin.
Yep.
Nurture the legacy. And then the other thing was to prove the concept, right? That it would be a viable option for a live show. And so my agent was really happy. And I think it would be a lot of fun to play that live.
For sure.
Yeah.
Really, my vision for it was initially was to be much more small and intimate, where basically every ticket's a VIP ticket. I couldn't. You could do that in an arena full of 5,000 people, but what I prefer to do is in a smaller place, maybe where people could be seated at tables.
For sure. Nice.
And we can sort of interact throughout the show.
Like a lounge kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are the main reasons. I think, we achieved our goals. And so I guess to answer your question, the idea is, we'd like to play that live eventually. I don't currently have a plan to re-stream it or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think if you guys had connectivity issues, if you hit up Sessions, or not Sessions, Mandolin,
yeah,
I think they can give you a way to watch it again.
Okay, well we'll figure that out. But
check with them.
But I really enjoyed it, and I feel like I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And I also really enjoyed your meet and greet that you did afterwards.
Oh, cool.
I've done a few of those. They're okay, this is half an hour, maybe 5 questions, whatever. But the fact that you actually went through and asked I think there was 50 some odd people, hey, do you have anything to say? Or just them just sharing their stories about the memories that you've created over the years and the friendships that they've made. And I just think that it was really cool. And I really enjoyed that. So I was I'll take some notes. And by the end I was oh my God, my fingers are falling off. Yeah, no. It was really
I appreciate that. Yeah, we went for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that was, I
And,
did not expect that at all.
Mhm.
I mean, I wasn't, I mean, you know, some people had said, oh, you know, make it like half hour, 45 minutes. And, you know, I had the free Zoom account. And with that, you get 40 minutes free.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, you know what, that's just not going to cut it. So, you know, I'm going to upgrade the account because we're going to have to go at least an hour. And then we were like over an hour into it, maybe more, when I said, oh, wow, we haven't even asked questions yet. You know?
But the story about how Summer Girls came on the air and the DJ from New York, like that was a really cool story. Like, really,
And that, I was so happy that I was able to get him on there. I didn't think about it ahead of time. And I was like, oh, you know what, let me see if Greg T's around. But, you know, I think you might have heard, like, even throughout the stories, like there was things that I learned that I didn't even know, you know? So, yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. I mean, I try to explain to people, like, interacting with the fans these days is so much different than it was 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, it was back then, it was like,
It's true. It's true.
You're like,
And
I
now
can't
it's like,
hear what you're
hey,
asking.
how are you? Nice to meet you.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's funny. I was just looking through, because I was like, have I seen LFO in concert? And I remembered you guys came to Canada for, I believe it was the Nickelodeon All That Music and More tour. And I actually found like an autographed like picture, but I think it's just Rich and Devin. I don't actually think I have your autograph because there's nothing like on your picture. So one of these days, hopefully I'll be able to get that going. So
yeah, that would be awesome. So maybe.
Do you have any plans to come back?
So I know you have the show with O-Town and that's.
But you know, actually, now that I think about it, you were in the VIP.
I was, yeah.
So you're gonna get an autographed picture in the mail.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
Nice. So so I don't know how it is down in Florida, but here we're like in this like stay-at-home order.
We're in lockdown all the time. Yeah,
we haven't been allowed out for like besides necessities for ages. So I've noticed that in the States, I'm seeing a lot more concerts coming up and things. So is there a lot less restrictions down there?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank God.
Yeah. Florida has always been, you know, pretty reasonable. I mean, obviously, when the COVID first hit, everybody's like, okay, hold on a second. The idea was let's take a break. I think they said to like soften the curve or something. I can't remember what it was.
Flatten the curve.
All right, let's just break for a couple weeks just so we can get a chance to see what we have here. And then it became this big political junk. And so, you know, the lockdowns became, I don't think we'll ever see something like that again because
Hopefully
it just became like
it's crazy.
Really, it wasn't free. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah.
And so I agree that we had to do things to make sure that people were okay, but I think there was just so much bad that came from locking people alone. Like for me, it's not so bad because I'm an introvert. I have a nice house with a backyard and live in a neighborhood where I can walk and ride bikes, and so it's not so bad. But I think about people that are like stuck in like a small apartment someplace. You know, it's like, or my neighbor who. You guys remember Mike Caputo?
Yes.
Hold on a second. Hey, Mike, I'm on a VIP call right now.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hey, you want to say hi, Mike?
Who is it?
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Hey,
We're from Boy Band Break.
We're in Canada.
We're just doing a little interview.
Hey, ladies, how you doing?
Great. How are
Good.
you? Yes,
Doing fantastic. Just up here in Boston. The weather's getting warm and just really excited. What part of Canada?
Kind of near Toronto and Niagara Falls, in between the two of them. So we love Boston. I can't wait for
Toronto. Brad, we're gonna have to set up a show up there.
Yes, do it.
There'll be lots of people.
I'll talk to you later, man.
Take care.
Bye,
Mike.
You're gonna have to come across the border and come to one of the shows there.
They're not allowed across the board.
Yeah,
That's why,
like the New Kids concert that's happening. I'm like, I want to go so bad, and
I
I'm like,
know.
it's in Boston.
Bye,
Like, it'll
ladies.
be so fun.
Bye. Take care.
All right, honey. Bye-bye.
That's it. That's why wood is so expensive because the border is closed with Canada, right?
Yeah, it's
They
true.
say- Listen, nobody knows like exactly the right way, but I think at this point, anything like that's similar to this that happens again, I think you just have to rely on people to be people.
Yeah.
Rely on them to be rational, and protect people the best you can. But I'm sad to hear that Canada's still locked down the way it is.
Yeah.
Here in the States, I mean, like I said, Florida's always been sort of more open than other places.
Yeah.
But even places like New York, I think because the vaccine rate is so high now. Like I was just reading at the my favorite basketball team, the Knicks. Their capacity is up to, like, for the playoffs, like 13,000 people in the
Oh,
arena.
wow.
So
That's great.
for New York, that's pretty amazing. So
Yeah.
I think you've got certainly people that are vaccinated. You've got people that have already been sick and might have antibodies. You have people that are just naturally immune. And then the thing with these things, when they become political, it's hard to find the truth. Because it's not as bad as like the left-wing news organizations say it is, and it's not as nothing as the right-wing news organizations say. The truth's somewhere in between.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's true.
So I
It's true.
think we have to rely on people to be people, but
Hi, Mom.
yeah. So it's I have friends that are on both sides of the spectrum when it comes to the COVID, and I just mind my business and just try to be be nice and open to both sides of the story, and there are multiple sides. But
That's true,
anyhow, I'm
because
sorry
it's
to hear
like-
you guys are locked down, but
Well, hopefully when we're open again, you can come up and say
Yes.
hi.
Yeah.
Yes, we would definitely love to see a show for sure.
No, I've been wanting to get to like Toronto or Buffalo area again. So
Mhm.
you guys are an hour from Toronto. So which way? North?
So
or-
we're in Hamilton. So like Toronto is here, Niagara Falls and Buffalo is here, and we're just kind of in the middle. It's called the Golden Horseshoe.
So you're an hour from Buffalo and an hour from Toronto?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
It's good. It's a good spot. It's good. We can go anywhere we want. Yeah,
That's
it's
awesome.
crazy because our borders closed until at least June 21st. And when they closed it for the first month, I was like, we've never had the border closed before. This is crazy. And now it's been a year. I'm like, as soon as they open that up, the Canadians are going to be like, let us out.
Yeah, I know, it's true.
These days you
Give
need
us
a
our
pa-
Olive Garden.
Yeah.
these days you need a passport to get through the Canadian border, right?
Yes.
All right.
Hope mine doesn't expire before it.
I know. Yeah.
Mine was like so far expired, and then my agent was like, "Oh, we might have a show in Mexico." I was like, "Well,
Ooh.
I don't have a passport," so I had to run and get that squared away.
I figure it's always good to have one just in case you need to leave the country suddenly. I just always want that opportunity to let's do this.
Well, I've got a wife and 5 kids, so there's no doing anything suddenly.
Yeah.
That's true.
Everything's a process. Especially traveling.
Yeah, for sure.
That's cool. So what's up with your podcast? What's that about?
Okay, so it's called Boy Band Break, and we have new episodes every Sunday, and we've been doing it for almost 3 years now. So we did it just to like talk about all our boy band experiences. We do album reviews. We talk about concerts we've gone to, new projects that any of the boy bands are doing. We'll talk about that. And we just had our first interview. So you are officially our second
Celebrity.
We had O-Town last month, and they were super cool and a lot of fun. So yeah, so it's just something fun. So it's the 2 of us, and then our friends Sophia and Diane as well.
Awesome.
So
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like we're all in like different cities too. So like they used to like travel in, but because of like lockdown restrictions, they can't even like move within like their cities. So like we have to we set it up like on digitally so that we can all still kind of get together. It's just like it's nice because we talk about like more than like one boy band, like because I feel like all of them deserve love. Because like boy bands have brought us so much joy over the years. So like you don't even know the impact that you have on like strangers' lives, right? Because like
like
just
good memories from things.
like
or,
nostalgia.
Like every
Right.
time Summer Girls comes on, like
Ah.
everybody is singing that.
Yes.
Guys, girls, who
Yes.
cares? Like that's just like one of those like classic songs that
Yeah,
everyone knows, and it's just great to see that.
Yeah.
happening, So
yeah,
Well, it's a great honor to have that as part of our lives. It's like you don't always get to hear those stories, but when I do, it's really beautiful. It's really humbling, to be honest with you. To know that something you did has had this long-term effect. And Summer Girls is such a classic summer song, and sometimes I don't even think I realize it.
Mhm.
yeah, right? Because it's just like, oh, this is just something that I did, and then you don't realize there's people all over the world, right? So
yeah. Just like the memories that it brings to people, and it's just like it's pretty cool. But like, how have you like been able to keep it all together like after all that's happened, right? Like, because I mean, you had like lots of losses, like
to lose one member is terrible, and then to lose another member.
yeah, it's like you're holding up the whole fort, you know? Like, how do you feel?
Well, when we lost Rich, it was obviously a devastating blow, not only to us, but more importantly to his family. I feel like no mother should ever have to bury her son, you know?
Yeah.
And for Devin and I, Devin was living with me at the time when Rich passed away. And, for us, in our eyes, like LFO story was done, we continued being together. We made some music together, and we, like I said, he lived with me, he sang with me at church, and he was my best friend. So we just eventually continued our lives. I was running my record label at the time, and he was working on some solo music. And in 2016, we were invited by 98 Degrees to do a cameo at one of their shows. And so we did a little LFO cameo there. The crowd went wild. And then a few days later, I got a message from an agent who asked if we would take LFO back out on the road. And so through a lot of prayer, a lot of discernment, we decided to do it. And it was an amazing experience. We honored Rich with a pair of his shell-toe Adidas.
Yeah, the shoes.
Like stand,
Nice.
Like, but what you're asking is how am I doing? So when Devin died, I went into the darkness.
Yeah.
Because not only was he my bandmate, but he was my best friend, And yeah, to this day, I mean, it takes my breath away.
Sure.
But I was able to get some help to get back into the light. And when I was invited to do these Pop 2000 dates, it was a hard decision, but it's been a very beautiful experience. The fans have been so supportive, and I've made it my musical mission just to honor Rich, honor Devin, nurture the legacy, and to have the opportunity. What I call it is an unfortunate honor.
Yeah.
There's no part of me
that
wants to be on the stage alone.
Like,
like when I did that LFO story live stream, like there was one particular song where it really was like basically alone, and I hated it. I mean, it's like I don't want. That's not who I want to. I'm not interested in being that guy. So on the Pop 2000 tour, I get to rock an LFO medley with the O-Town guys, and that's a lot of fun. So you asked how I get through it. It was my faith that brought me through it, and it was the support of friends and family that brought me through it, and in the belief in something bigger than this world,
Yeah.
And I imagine Rich and Devin having a beautiful reunion in heaven, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes I feel like they pull strings from there,
Yeah.
And so that's how I got through it. But it's still, I was reflecting the other day, like Devin and I used to always talk about like becoming old men together, just sitting out on the porch and drinking a beer or something like that, being old, white beard, And,
Yeah, for sure. Rocking chairs.
I don't know.
Yelling at kids on the lawn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
good. Yeah.
So yeah, I think, like I said, I'll never be the same, but everybody knows you guys have lost people.
Yeah.
You don't get
Our
over
grandmother passed 21 years ago, and it still
it still
hurts, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes just like a thing will just trigger, and you're like, oh my God, this is something that she used to do. Or
that's true.
Exactly. So we just do our best to honor them, and for especially with Devin, like try to live more like him, because he lived in such a special way. Like I believe he saw colors we couldn't see. If you were walking down the trail and watching where you're going, he'd be looking deep into the woods at something else. So I try to really what it is. He would experience awe. And so what I try to do is try to experience awe more often.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
that's a great way to live.
We had read on Wikipedia that I guess there was also like I guess before Devin there was someone named Grizz. Would you ever like consider going back to like or like was that just a relationship that went sour, or what happened with that?
Yeah, so that's too long of a story for.
Oh, no.
Okay, no worries. No
Well,
worries.
for this is a short
Yeah,
little
you're right.
segment here.
Okay.
So the story with Brian is a long one. And I touched on the LFO story. So I have nothing but love and for him and pray for him and want him to have a peaceful existence.
Good.
But to
But LFO
replace
is
Is just
to replace Ray's or replace Devin is not to honor them. And
Yeah,
so
you're right.
I won't ever LFO will never be anything else but what
But
you
the
see
three of
today.
Yeah.
And when I'm gone, then it's I told the O-Towns, you guys keep the legacy alive. So
The towns, yeah.
Okay, I guess you probably have to get to another.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing before we end. Are you able
Sure.
to give a shout out to Boy Band Break? If you can just say
Sure.
Like, hey, this is Brad from LFO, and you're listening to Boy Band Break or something like that.
That'd be awesome.
hey, what's up? This is Brad from LFO, and you are listening to Boy Band Break.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having us on the interview, and thank you so much for all that you do, because like you are impactful, even like if you don't see it. Like you're an awesome person, and we really appreciate you, Brad.
And we'd love to do a full episode with you in the future sometime if you ever want to talk to us again, you the girl. So
Let's do it. Let's maybe think about doing one. Ideally, I don't know, maybe sometime over the summer.
yeah, in the future.
Whenever you're
Yeah,
free,
yeah.
we will come to you.
Just listen, don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Right?
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's true, and everything.
okay.
in life.
It's okay to say, hey, listen, we'd like to interview you for our podcast. Again, can we set up a date? Yes, we can.
Yes.
That's
Oh, that'd be
awesome.
great.
All right.
Well,
So
thank
just
you so much for spending time with us, and I hope the rest of your calls are amazing and you have a fabulous day.
Mwah.
cheers, guys.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And we're back.
Yeah, woo!
So
Wow, what
so
an
much for
exciting
Brad
interview,
Thank you,
Cinzia and Lydia.
just big shout out to Brad. Thank you for being on our podcast, and we definitely would look forward to you ever coming on it again. That would be nice. So, but thanks.
that was such a nice, like, inspirational thing at the end there, guys, where he was like, you should just ask for what you want.
Right. We got to
Yeah.
manifest things. We got to
Yeah.
ask for it.
It's the
The worst
it's,
thing-
Manifesting
Please, no.
works.
it's a secret. Ask, believe, receive.
See?
Right?
Put
There
it
you
in
go.
all
I feel like what he was saying, I don't know, in my opinion, what he was saying was like, the worst people can say is no, right?
Yeah,
like,
it's
you ask
true.
someone like, hey, you want to be on the podcast? The worst they can be like is no, or they don't answer you or whatever. But he's like, if you don't ask, then you never know, right?
Exactly.
That's true.
Yes. Okay. So how this came to be is literally we were just scrolling.
We
through-
were in the parking
Well,
lot
hold
of
on.
August
The
8th.
day before,
Okay.
we were on Twitter, and I had seen it, and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." And then I believe one of our listeners actually tagged us in it and said, "Hey, this is coming up tomorrow," and we're like, "All right, that's cool." I thought it was an online concert, and then there was a Q&A and stuff. So we thought about it, discussed it, forgot about it, and then we were, yes, Lydia, we were eating at August 8, which is a sushi restaurant, and they were doing. Because we're still in lockdown, so they were doing kind of all you can eat sushi in your car. So we're like, okay. So while we were there, we're like, oh, that LFO thing is starting today at 8:00, and it was like 7:50, and we're like, oh, we should. Lydia's like, yeah, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Okay, cool. So it was relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other things we've done. So we're like, oh, what the hell? Let's do it. So we got the package that included obviously the event, and then there was an after party, and then we had the private Zoom chat as well. So that was pretty cool.
Should I say the price or no price?
It was
Do not say the price.
No.
Okay.
It was not that. It was good. It was a good value for what you were getting.
Very good value. Yeah.
So we're like, okay, cool. So unfortunately, we were trying to figure out a way that both Diane and Sophia could also watch it, and then there was some other things going on, and then the Wi-Fi was bad, and we missed quite a bit of the beginning of the concert. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but essentially what it was almost like a storyteller's event.
Yeah.
The main things, obviously LFO consists of Brad, who is still alive, Rich Cronin, who passed away, and Devin Lima, who also passed away. So he's very big into honor Rich and honor Devin. So the story kind of brought like how LFO came to be, and then he would sing songs in between, and then there was like a lot of it was like a lot of spiritual things and stuff like that. So yeah,
There's a little bit of cameos as well in the concert, like Howie.
Yes, we missed the part, but Howie from the Backstreet Boys, I guess, did a shout out or
Yeah, just was like, oh, I can't be there because I was at the O-Town concert thing in Florida.
and then I think O-Town also, or Jacob from O-Town also made a comment, or
Jacob, I believe so, yes. And Ryan Cabrera was there. That's about it.
It was kind of a different experience. It wasn't like your typical concert experience. So it was, like you mentioned.
It's a somber event, right? It's not
very
so
somber,
it wasn't
yeah.
like going all out, like bang
Party.
bang party hits, all that stuff. It was like a lot slower.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which was a bit unexpected. But I mean,
But he had like other musicians on stage with him. He had a drummer. He had some guitar players. So he was playing, and he also had what he does to represent Rich and Devin is he has like mic stands with their shoes coming off of it. So I guess he kind of mentioned it in our interview, is that essentially this was kind of like to try it out, to see if this type of an event would work if he were to bring it out on tour. So he has a lot of children, so he can't go on tour all the time. So he does a lot of weekend things. He's been doing a lot of Pop 2K stuff with O-Town and them. So yeah, it's kind of where that kind of came from. So yeah, so I thought it was a fairly good show. I liked it. There was a lot going on there.
it had a lot of somber tones. Very
It was
different than
nice
life.
to see the cameos. I don't know.
It was nice to find out more about LFO because
Yeah.
besides like obviously Summer Girls and like the Rich Cronin interview on Howard Stern
My
and
favorite.
stuff, we really don't know a lot. Maybe a little bit of like, oh, that was also on that Howard Stern interview. Like a lot of like the Lou stuff. There was like a lot of things we didn't really know about how they got back together or how they got together in the first place and things like that.
Yeah, so his memories of them, it was nice to hear his thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the interview itself, like that you and I did, I think it got like a little bit somber at the end. Especially, I guess we touched on a nerve that maybe we shouldn't have touched on.
So we Googled some stuff ahead of time, like really briefly. We're like, oh my God, what am I going to ask him? And then we were like, oh, there used to be a guy named Briz. But we obviously didn't know any of that story. And so Lydia asked about it, and it didn't.
And it just did not go well. So, I mean, you guys, you probably got that vibe like at the end of the interview. But, I mean, like.
So obviously there's still lots about LFO that we don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I'll talk a little bit more when we get to the
Yeah.
other part. But yeah,
Okay.
so I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to say about the actual event?
No, I think I said all that I was going to say.
Yeah, no, it was good. It was the not to like, you know, it's obviously
Oh, I totally bombed it. Yeah, like I bombed it. So it's okay to say.
no, not your interview.
Oh, no, the
Sorry.
event, the concert, right?
Oh,
You
sorry.
She's
the
asking
concert,
about the
yeah.
event.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Not that it's totally not his fault, but like the sound quality kept going in and out. So then, and he speaks kind of softly to begin with. So I found it hard to hear him a lot of the times at the
Oh,
event.
see, I thought it was just because we were in a car. That's why I couldn't.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So that was kind of, I mean, but that's totally not his fault. I mean, and it like totally like props to him for doing something like this. You know, I know things are starting to open up in the States and, you know, people are having shows and whatnot. They're going to have O-Town shows coming up soon. But it's nice to just kind of give people something, you know, in a pandemic, you know, and that's something that can go worldwide, right? For it to be online and like everybody, all the LFO fans can kind of come together and, you know, celebrate. Let's you know, celebrate the lives of Rich and of Devin. You know, it doesn't always have to be like, so like, I feel like a concert is kind of like a nice way to do it. Cause it's like, yeah, there was like sad moments, but there was also like a lot of light moments and like funny and like whatever, you know, getting their hits and all that, whatever. So I thought it was good. I the interview was fine. I think you guys are being too hard on yourselves.
Lydia's being too hard on
I thought it was okay. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
I'm just like, this is a
But it's also, I don't want to feel bad about him, but it's also his like tone and voice, and I don't know. He doesn't give a lot.
Well, I think the main thing about Brad is that he's much more of an introvert than a lot of others would be, and he wasn't the front runner of the band. Right?
No,
right.
Obviously, Rich was that guy.
Yeah.
Devin was a little quiet, but also that guy, and Brad was kind of like more
the support,
right? And you know, all bands need that.
First time, like,
so it's hard for him to want to get the motivation to go out and do things, but it also, I think he realizes that this is a good thing for him to get out there and do things. So. Yeah,
I think like his vibe is like, well, like you said, kind of quiet, introverted, like spiritual, just like he's not like entirely like man.
Yeah.
You know, he's not going to be like, like, you know what I mean?
I know. And that's like kind of what we're used to, like high energy in a boy band,
so
right?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's why you think that.
Yeah.
And then a lot of what he does is with his church, right? So he does a lot of music ministry at his church.
Yeah.
So he is a lot more like
somber and,
you know, things like that.
I thought you did great, guys.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you. I really beat myself up.
Let us know in the comments. What did you think of the
Do you think the interview went well, or do you think it went weird?
Do you want us to try to get him back for a full-on interview later on in the summer? Maybe. I don't know.
Who else would you love to see on this podcast?
True. Yes.
Drop a comment.
Drop a comment. All right. So if we're done talking about that part, I guess we will get into the VIP after party.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Please go ahead and share your notes.
So
there's a lot of notes here.
Okay, so we have not been in a lot of after parties. We did the O-Town ones. Those were what, Diane, half an hour?
Yeah.
So there's maybe like 10 questions, kind of good, whatever. Like people would submit their questions ahead of time, and then there's like a little like talking at the end. But
they were we didn't know what to expect. I think we said that in the episode. We didn't know. But they were actually very well organized.
Yeah, they're like, and we were dumb and we didn't realize that they split the groups into smaller groups as well.
We're idiots, but they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, so we're like, oh, that's actually cool. And then that was a lot, when we were doing those ones, a lot of people were interested in the whole Q&A section because it was different. So for this one, it was just one big Q&A. And I would say there was probably like between 50 and 70 people on this Zoom chat. And it was not right. And just like the O-Town one, it was not right after the concert. It was a few days later. And so I was like, oh, I'm just going to write down some notes. Well, my friends, I got 6 pages worth of notes. So I'm not going to read all of it. No, it's just printed out. But there was a lot of, I just got to give kudos to Brad because like, he like put his time and effort into this. Like, I feel like if we could compare it to like another boy bander, this would probably be like a Kevin. If Kevin were to do a solo event, that's kind of the vibe I got from this. Like he was very compassionate and caring about all the people. And he literally went around to every single person and asked them if they had a question.
Wow.
So I think there was like 50 some odd people in this chat. So like,
that's nice of him to do.
But I would also like to point out, because I was expecting, okay, this is going to be half an hour, maybe an hour, because the concert was what, an hour, 2 hours?
And a half?
I think it was, 90-ish minutes.
90-ish minutes. So I was like, okay, well, this will be like half hour, 45 minutes, whatever. No, I believe it was 3 hours.
When you messaged us in the chat, I think you said 2.
It was definitely 2 at least. So you definitely got your money's worth for this one. My butt was asleep by the end. My wrist was hurting from all the typing. And it was just like, but anyways.
You have to know that Cinzia's like super, like when she just commits that she's going to do something, she can't, brevity is not her strong suit.
I'm really terrible at summarizing things. Like I'm just like,
she literally wrote down every single word that she possibly could, guys. Like this is going to be detailed AF.
Yes. So anyway, so we'll just dive in, shall we?
We are there, right? That's why.
That's the whole point.
Detail.
Mm-hmm.
So the people so obviously it was Brad, and then and I apologize to the LFO fans because I know nothing about the band and the fandom and all these people. So if these might be very important people that I don't know about, I'm sorry, I don't know. We're learning, guys. We're learning with you. Okay, so Floyd and Alan were there. They're part of the band. I believe Floyd was the drummer and Alan was possibly guitar. Mike Cupido.
I've heard this.
Does anybody know?
The manager?
Did he called during the interview, I believe.
Yeah, he did.
I think he's their manager from like a very long time ago. So him.
Keep in contact. That's good.
And then the main guest that they had was Greg T. And he is actually the man responsible for Summer Girls Breaking. He is a DJ, Greg T. Torndorf. He used to work at Z100 in New York City. So that's like one of the biggest like radio stations in the country.
In New York, yes.
Yes, for sure. So how did this go down? Like, how did they go from Gorilla Suit Lou to being over here? Well, my friends, let me tell you. So the year was 1999. Okay, I'm not going to make it slow like that.
Okay.
Okay. So DJ Greg T was driving through, I want to say Washington. He was talking quickly, and he heard on Z104, which was a Maryland station. The DJ wanted a Z104 Maryland DJ wanted a summer song. He found the song and started playing it. So I guess like a lot of radio stations look at a whole bunch of CDs, just like randomly unsolicited CDs.
Did you?
Yes.
Still?
Yes, we generally do not play music unless it is going through head off. Like there's a whole process. Like it's not like, I guess in the late 90s, you could go to a radio station and be like, hey, play me. And sometimes they would, sometimes they wouldn't, right?
Okay.
Generally, you have to have a record label, all that jazz. So anyway, so this DJ found this song and then was playing it because it was like the weekend and it's like, yeah, here's random songs. So he puts it in. So he's playing Summer Girls. So DJ Greg, his girlfriend, who is now his wife, thought it was New Kids on the Block. So she thought it was a New Kids song. So he called, so Greg, like obviously didn't have a cell phone at the time or whatever. So when he pulled over, he called the radio station and he's like, hey, you played this song about a couple hours ago. I think it sounded like New Kids. I'm not sure what it was. And then the DJ who played the song didn't know who the song was. So he's like, okay, yeah, sure. Let me look at you. Because like nowadays, everything is like MP3 and digital. But back then you would actually have the CD and just like put it in the carton.
And you had like Shazam.
So he's like, let me look through this carton of CDs I played and let me see if I can find it. So he found the Light Funky One CD. So then Greg went back to Z100 and I guess their morning show was Elvis and Elliot. So on Monday, he told them like, this is going to be the summer smash hit. And then the morning show laughed at him. And they're just like, yeah, okay, whatever, buddy. So then they started calling all the record labels to try to find this CD and couldn't find it. And there was a small record label had just released them. Like they got fired from the record label. So this song was on like a CD. So they're like, and and then they got picked up by Arista. Mike Cupido broke up with someone. So then somehow they get a meeting. And in this meeting is LFO, Lou, Clive Davis. Because they had just been picked up by Clive's company. Clive had his own bathroom in his office and a butler in his office. Like, so they were just like so impressed that this like, so he was also eating a T-bone steak at the record label office while they're there.
That's flexing.
So then Clive Davis is like, here, listen to some of this music. So he played Santana with Rob Thomas. He also played Alicia Keys before she came out. So he's like letting them listen to this music for some reason. I don't know why this is happening.
Okay.
So apparently Rich was terrified of Clive Davis. So they're like, Rich, like get him to play Summer Girls. But he was like freaking out and didn't want to do it. So Brad had the CD and was like, screw it, I'm just putting it in there. So
Pause for a second. LFO's meeting with Clyde.
So I don't know how it skips from Greg, so they had just been dropped by their little record label, somebody named Kelly, and then Arista Records picked them up, and Clive Davis was with Arista. So they're in a meeting with him, and they don't want to play the song.
Weird.
Okay, yeah.
So all this is happening around the same time, apparently. Yeah. So then Brad's like, YOLO, and like puts the CD in. And Rich originally wrote the song Summer Girls as an ode to Boston. So then, so they're there, and then Clive's like, yeah, this is going to be on the album. And then Rich is like, oh my God, I'm going to jump out the window. I'm so excited. And then somebody else in the room said, yeah, this song is not going to be a hit. So,
Wow.
so then they had like Diane Warren and some other writers helping them out. And then there was a song called I Will Show You Mine. And that was supposed to be the first single. It would have involved dancing. Brad does not like dancing, so he was not a fan of this song. And then they had to practice with pencils as microphones in a karate studio.
Okay.
Lance was learning to dance. I don't know who Lance is. Somebody was learning to dance. Oh, sorry. NSYNC was also in this studio as well. And because Lance came into the band later.
Yeah.
So then he was trying to, Lance was in dance class with them. So LFO and Lance are learning dance moves.
Oh, cute.
So Lance can catch up to NSYNC. So yeah.
That's cool.
So Brad was waiting tables in Dallas. I don't know why he's suddenly in Dallas. And then Lou paged him and asked him if he could sing bass. And then he made him sing. And he was supposed to, he would have been in NSYNC.
What?
If he had a bass voice.
Oh.
So because he didn't have this bass voice, he's like, yeah, you're not good for NSYNC. And that's where Lance came in. But then he kind of like, yeah, whatever. So anyway, so they finally track down this Kelly. So the DJ Greg T finally tracks down Kelly. She sends her last remaining copy of Summer Girls to them. So then they start playing it on Z100 with the story about Greg and his girlfriend and stuff. And then people start going crazy for it. So they played it every hour, like 7:30, 8:30, 9:30.
It's a good song.
And like people, like phone lines are lighting up. People are loving this song.
It's a good song.
So the program director and the music director decide to add it. So the song is now added to their playlist. But because this was under the old record label, Arista sends a cease and desist letter to Z100 and like tells them, you cannot play this song anymore. We just signed them. That song is under their old label, like not happening. Like take this song off the air.
Shit.
So then, because they're radio people and don't care, they just decided to keep playing it anyways.
Wow.
So it just kept going. So then because they're not, so it's like going back and forth, they're not taking it off the air. It's getting all this traction. So they kind of just decided like, you know, if you can't beat them, join them type thing. So 1 week later, they're back in the studio recording the album and making the music video for it.
Nice.
So they, I guess, re-recorded it.
Cool.
And then at some point, Greg T's wife, so in present time, says that Brad has been left on this earth to be a storyteller. So then Brad gets choked up about this. Mike Caputo also agrees with it. So that's kind of like how Summer Girls kind of got onto the air, right? And then, so then we're skipping ahead to 2016. And Brad gets a text from Jeff Timmons of 98 Degrees. For some reason, DJ Greg went on tour with 98 Degrees for a bit.
Cool.
Maybe DJ Greg was like, you guys know Jojo Wright, right? Like he's the one that did the hours with BSB and whatever. I'm pretty sure he did stuff with NSYNC too. So Greg T's like
he's kind of like the little like
the other version of Jojo Wright, like the I'm pretty sure
he's
like
the
MC?
East Coast version.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I don't know if Greg I don't know if he had his own show or if he was just with the station and he just kind of did his own thing, or maybe he was part of the morning show, like a producer or something. I'm not really exactly sure what he did, but anyways. So he gets this text from Jeff Timmons and about the My 2K tour. And he said, hey, like Jeff's like, hey, we're going to be in Coney Island. Do you and Devin want to come and like pop up on stage and play Summer Girls for like a minute? Because we do a medley and then that's in it. So then they're like, well, so he's like, I don't know if people even care, but he's like, what the heck? Sure. But he wasn't getting paid for this, right? And they did not have a lot of money. So his friend from church actually gave him his Sky Miles so that they could fly up to Coney Island. So,
that's nice.
So Kyle, so then they're saying they sent this another DJ, Kyle, to pick them up from the airport in like a sketchy beat up Honda Accord that was like falling apart. So this guy's trying to use the Waze app to drive through New York City to get to the show. They almost don't even make it to the venue.
Oh my God.
So they get to the venue at Coney Island, pulls up to security. They show security tattoo. So then, like, I guess they weren't on the list or something, and then he showed him some sort of tattoo. So then he was able to get through
tattoo
to the backstage. I don't know. So they see 98 Degrees. They do the sound check, and their part is literally just 1 minute long. So they get up on stage. The concert's happening. They have this 1 minute. The crowd goes nuts. Like, it go nuts. So when they get off the stage, Brad goes to Devin like, this is such a cruel joke. Like, we get up on stage, we get this, and now we're like gone again. So like, what the hell? Like, should we do this again? Like, what are we doing? I don't know. So like, and they're like, had to go back and fly back, right? Like, it was just like, this was it. Like, just this.
It's like a one-time thing.
A one-time thing. And they're like, we just got a taste of it again, and now it's gone, right?
Yeah.
But then they got contacted by an agent named Matt. So Matt was kind of doing this thing. So then...
Who's Matt? This agent?
An agent.
Some agent. Then it says Greg left Z100 to go to KTU, which is that concert. So that's what more Buffy.
KT Euphoria.
Yeah, because we did that KT Euphoria. And then they did a...
The radio station is KTU.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess they switched radio station. So then, so I guess when he was leaving Z100, he made like a Summer Girls parody. Cry Fest on YouTube. I don't know. Apparently it's on YouTube. Apparently Greg was a jackass before it was thing. They made him do a lot of pranks. Okay, so Greg was like their like comedy guy, like and then Greg's guy. Rich, do you remember the summer we met? And then he said, we'll never forget. That's when we all became family. So that's where Greg is.
That's nice.
Okay, so then they're talking about Girl on TV. So they recorded Summer Girls and Girl on TV. And they were in LA for the Blockbuster Music Awards. They had, so this is where the Jennifer Love Hewitt stuff comes in.
Oh, from the Rich Cronin
they interview. Have the same publicist as Jennifer Love Hewitt. Okay. So, and Rich really wanted to meet her, and he was really nervous because he's loved Jennifer Love Hewitt. So he starts drinking vodka because he's nervous. He looks to Brad and tells Brad, stay away from Jennifer Love Hewitt. And if you stay away, I will give you my publishing for Summer Girls.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So even though he stayed away from Jennifer Love Hewitt, Rich did not give him his publishing for
Rich
Summer
did not have the publishing. Lou had the publishing.
Lou had the publishing. That's correct. Anyways.
That's the truth.
So anyway, so the song Girl on TV was about Jennifer Love Hewitt. So Brad and Devin are sharing a room, and Mike and Rich are in a room. So so the night that he meets Jennifer Love Hewitt, he wrote it that night, and they were at the Park Suites in LA. So Rich wakes up Mike and's like, you got this song, like this is the greatest song, whatever. So then Mike calls the record label at 2:00 in the morning and's like, hey, listen to this song. They're like, it's fucking 2:00 in the morning. What the hell? And they're like, yeah, actually, this is a good song. So they made them go to Boston the next day to record it.
Wow.
So like they immediately had to get on a plane, go to Boston. So, I forgot about this part. Okay, so they, so that's happening. So they go to TRL with Carson Daly for Summer Girls, right? Cool. So there's like hundreds or thousands of fans outside. Okay, so there's like tons of people there. So Carson is doing a regular interview and then goes off script and plays a snippet of Girl on TV and asked who it was about. So then Rich goes red. And then Devin, who never speaks, jumped in and said, oh, we like girls on TV, like, whatever, like, like Buffy. But it turns out that Carson Daly was dating Jennifer Love Hewitt at one point. So I'm not sure if they were still dating at this point or if she had just broken up with him. So he was very bitter towards Rich because of this. Wow. So then Jennifer Love Hewitt ends up being in the music video. But they said it was like because like her and Rich are kind of dating at this point. But every time the director said cut, they would start fighting. It was just like really like weird. So it was introduced as a TRL world premiere. It was supposed to be. And then it was just not really in rotation because Carson Daly was pissed off at them.
Fair.
So, all right. Then he also, there's something about, there was a 2001 MTV beach thing. Everyone is in bikinis in this video, or whatever this, because they used to broadcast for spring break or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And they're like wearing jeans in like 100-degree weather and like sweating. And
Good God.
they're like, what the hell? Okay. So then Mike talks, and he said the first national appearance was on Regis and Kathy Lee. It was a live show. Oh God, this story. Sorry. So they had to cut Summer Girls down to make it shorter because it was live, but they couldn't find Devin. So they're like, this is a live show. Like, where the hell is Devin? Whatever, right? So he finally tracks him down to the bathroom, and he like kicks the stall open, and Devin is taking a dump. And so like Mike, the manager, pulls him off the toilet.
Oh my God.
He got on stage 30 seconds late because Devin had no concept of time. And he's like, they can wait. He's like, this is live television. They can't wait. Go out. So
Oh my God.
Hopefully
So he couldn't even wipe his ass?
Hopefully he wiped his ass. But yeah.
Yikes.
So if you find that appearance and you're wondering, where is Devin for half of this appeence? He was in the bathroom being dragged out. So
wow.
yeah. And
That's
apparently
something.
Devin was very much into perfection when he was shaving. Would anybody like to guess how long it would take him to shave?
20 minutes?
45 minutes.
30?
4 hours.
4 hours?
He had to get the mirror and the light just right.
Okay.
So then they start talking about like being on a tour bus. And the number one rule of tour buses, anyone?
Try not to take a shit.
Don't shit on the bus.
Oh, okay.
So would you like to know what?
Okay, I think I've heard that before. That like it's basically don't shit. Like if you have to take a shit, we have to pull over because, yeah.
Okay, well here's what they would do instead is they would shit in a bag and throw it out the window.
No.
Oh my gosh, what if it was like diarrhea?
Yeah. Apparently, one time, Devin took the shit in the bag and then brought the bag to the bus driver. Needless to say, the bus driver was pissed off.
Obviously.
He was being presented with a bag of shit.
Oh my God. Gross.
Yeah. This is a whole bunch of men recounting, so that's why there's a lot of shit talk.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay. Okay. And then sometimes, so then at this point, Mike now admitted that he would occasionally sneak a shit in like the toilet and then blame it on Devin.
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Does Devin have IBS or something? Like, why is he always shitting?
I just love that these are the memories that brought forth. So then it said in 2000, they went to Canada.
Yay.
To get their gold record.
Aww.
So they were at this building. It was 33 floors up. It was the BMG Canada building. And on the 33rd floor, there was a patio. And around the patio, there was a ledge that's about 4 feet high, because you're 33 stories up, right?
Why is it only 4 feet high?
I don't know. So you can still see, I guess.
Okay.
Because 4 feet is like there.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So then, for some reason, Devin decides he's going to stand on the wall.
No.
Okay. And then not only does he stand there, he starts running.
Oh my God.
So then the president of BMG Canada comes out and starts freaking out because the A&R guy, so the artist research and development person, is having lunch with Usher across the street and looked out the window and was like, holy shit, someone is going to jump from the building.
Oh my God.
So he's like, somebody's on the 30th. So the president comes out and she's like, what the hell? So apparently Devin had no fear. He was not concerned about plunging to his death 33 stories. So so Usher's lunch was interrupted.
Poor
to be
Usher.
like, oh, hey, somebody's about to commit suicide. So
Oh my
he
God.
did not, obviously. So, all right. So that's his memory about Canada. Yes. So then so now we've skipped ahead to 2017, Rich and Love tour. So I guess they had a tour. I guess they had like a mini reunion or something. No, Rich is dead, passed away at this point, is he not?
I know where you are in time. So
Yeah.
2017. I think he passed in 2011?
Possibly.
Let me look it up for you.
Yeah, I think so. So anyways, well, you do that. So they rented a bus with a 24-foot trailer, right? So they were kind of funding this tour themselves. So they were like, okay.
September 8th, 2010 is when he passed away.
Okay, so then like I guess this was maybe to kind of honor Rich or something. So then they rented this bus, they have this trailer, so they have all their equipment. The band came for free to play because they wanted to like this reunion. So Brad drove the bus. So
Aww.
Brad is driving.
He pissed off the bus driver that much, eh?
So I think Devin has also passed away at this point.
Let's see here. Let me check.
So he drives the bus. So to save money, they don't get hotels or anything. They sleep on the bus at truck stops.
Devin died November 21st, 2018.
2018. So, okay, so Devin is still on this one then. Yes. So they're showering at truck stops. They're not paying for any hotels. So because of this, now they are allowed to shit on the bus. Okay. So Floyd, Mike. So now they're at some sort of like, I guess a truck stop or whatever that you can like get rid of the waste. You pay money or whatever. So it's now Floyd, who's the drummer, Mike, the manager, and Brad try to empty this. So Floyd goes under the bus to hook up the hose. So they pull a gate and then it goes into a hole on the other end. So Devin came to help. So they're all done and Floyd undoes it. Then Devin pulls the hose out of his hand for some reason. And then lava poop is now heading towards him. So now Floyd is trapped under this bus with this lava coming towards him. So luckily Brad was able to step in and yank him out before the lava hit him.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
That's great.
So that was that tour. So then they're planning a second leg of this tour.
Oh, because that's brilliant.
Because of
So-
the shit memory.
Yes. I just like don't know what was the obsession with poo in this. Like it just flowed, guys. So now, okay, so they did the first leg. It was going fine, whatever. So now they're planning a second leg. So because they're going out west, he's actually booking hotels and things like that. So Brad, again, is in charge of this. He's booking all the travel. They're going to Vegas. They're going to Arizona. He booked cars, hotels, flights. The next day, the day after he books everything, the shooting in Las Vegas happened.
Oh,
do you remember that?
Oh no.
Whoa.
So they're like, so obviously everyone's on edge. And then the day after that, Alan, who I don't know who Alan is in this story, sorry. Alan tells him that Devin is in the hospital. Devin didn't want to tell, I think he's a friend or brother. So apparently Devin didn't want to tell Brad or disappoint him. And because and then he made a comment like, he's thinking of you the day that he's diagnosed with cancer. Like, so anyway, so then obviously Brad goes to visit Devin in the hospital. Devin is just wearing regular clothes. He refused to wear the hospital clothes, sunglasses. He's sitting on the couch. So Brad saw this paperwork with the oncologist. He called the band and told them that they're not doing the tour, right? So Brad makes all these phone calls like, listen, tour is canceled. Devin's in the hospital, whatever. So then Devin starts having treatment. And they actually thought he was going to be cured. So he had surgery and they said that they got everything out. He actually showed like a clip of this, like when he was at the hospital. So apparently like a giant tumor had engulfed his kidney. So Floyd, Alan, Mike, and his parents are in the waiting room. They're excited that they got it all out. Everything's great. But then it turns out that the cancer spread to his bones and his blood. So, yeah. So, and Devin actually goes to live with Brad while he's going through all these cancer things. So he's living in his garage. So then Floyd and Devin were writing songs about a month before Devin passed away. Instead of recording, he decided to talk about space for 2 hours. So they shared a lot of special moments near the end. They would take turns rubbing his back with Tiger Balm. Devin also introduced Brad to science fiction. I guess Brad was never into it before. So Brad would read him a book and he would rub his back. And then the next day he was supposed to start reading The Exiles, and then he disappeared. So Alan is okay. So Devin's real name is actually Harold.
Oh,
so sometimes he would call him Harold. So Alan was a good friend of Devin, brought him lasagna. Devin wasn't feeling well. He's like, oh, can we call it a night? He's like, sure. So half an hour, the phone rang and Devin could hardly speak. At 1 a.m., he passed. And then Brad said a few weeks before he passed, he texted him, low waves, etc. Devin made a new song, Listen to the One. So yeah.
That's so sad.
So that's kind of how that ended. And then there's also Marcelle. She helps out with stuff for the website. She does graphic design. She's the one who sets up events and emails and messengers. So they thanked her for everything that she does. And then Brad started an Instagram page the day of the 98 Degree Show. And Marcelle had sent a message saying if they needed any help with designs and stuff like that. So then he also said, so essentially what LFO stands for right now is honor Rich and honor Devin. It is their legacy, and he's not doing this for money. He's doing it to honor them.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's nice.
Yes. So that was that. And then he went through every single person and asked questions. So I think we're kind of running out of time. I'm trying to see if there's anything there that... So I wrote down everything, but I'm not going to go through all that. But a lot of people were just mostly like thanking him for the music and what they did and for bringing the fans together and like, because that's, you make all these friendships in the fandom and stuff. So he was very humbled by a lot of the things that people were saying.
Yeah, because even during our interview, I'm like, you don't realize how much of an impact you've had on people. And he's like, oh, that's really nice to hear, because it's true, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. It is very true. I'm just going to do a quick scan here. So somebody asked what his best memory was with the guys. And in 1999, Z100 invited them to a mall performance on Long Island. So they're hanging out upstairs in the food court. They're really nervous. They don't think anybody's going to be there. Then they start going down the escalator, and there's 10,000 people there at this mall.
Awesome.
Yes. Another cool thing that apparently he does, which I was unaware of, is that he has kind of eat and greets, I guess, with fans before the shows. So they'll a group of 7 or so will get together for a lunch.
Oh, that's nice.
And they'll hang out. They also have somebody who designated sneaker keepers. So they're the fans that are in charge of making sure that nothing happens to their shoes. And then when the show starts, to put the shoes up on the stage for Rich and Devin.
That's very nice.
Let's see. People were talking about how they played football in a parking lot with them, and they bought a replacement hat for him.
It's nice when the boy banders are accessible, right?
Yeah.
It makes the whole experience so much more better.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked...
There's a lot of notes here.
Sorry.
Which is good.
Yes.
What was the reason the second album didn't do so well? Was the one question. That was from Jessica. And his answer was Napster was out and affecting record deals. Then 9/11 hit. And then at that point, Devin and Rich really wanted to be solo artists. And if they would have known what would have happened, how it wouldn't have worked out, then they would have kept going. And then at this point, Mike comes in about how music goes in cycles. So boy bands were on the way out at that time. That's why it didn't really go.
It's very cyclical, right? The music industry?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah.
Apparently some of these fans they used to do road trips like we do, and they would hang out at the hotels. They would figure out which hotels they're at, and they actually knew their aliases. So Devin's alias was Stevie Wonder. So they would call hotels and they'd be like, oh, is Stevie Wonder there? And whatever, right? So, and then once they found that, then they'd be like, okay, this is the hotel that they're staying at. But they would always come out. I guess they would call the room or whatever, and then they would come out and meet with the fans and hang out with them. Except one time they didn't come out, and they're just like, what the heck is taking so long for them to come out? And it turned out that Destiny's Child was there. So they were instead talking to Destiny's Child in the hotel lobby. Which, understandable.
I would too.
Same.
Let's something about Twinkies in the crowd. They would throw at them. I don't really know what's going on here.
We got excited.
Ow.
Here's a Twinkie.
A funny rich story. So Mike said this one. He said they were backstage at a TV show, probably Regis. So it was LFO, Tony Danza, and Miss Piggy.
Okay.
And they were there at 6 a.m. for a 9 a.m. show. So Rich went to go talk to Miss Piggy.
I would too.
So he's having coffee in the green room, and Miss Piggy's head was lying next to a bagel, and he was very upset that she wasn't real.
Aww.
So it ruined the magic for him. And that Rich was always making people laugh. And then Brad said, Rich is one of the funniest people you'll ever meet. As funny as he could be, he could also make you so mad. So one of his favorite memories was when they took over an entire Waffle House in Kentucky. They were on the Britney Spears tour. And they were behind the counter making food. So he actually had like video of this, and like Rich has the little hat on, and he's pretending to take orders, and it's just like all that. So that was a lot of fun.
Remember American food?
Yes.
Oh, the Waffle House hash browns.
One day, Lydia.
I know. We'll get
One
back
day.
there. We'll get back there.
It will happen.
So there's a few more questions. Mostly people just like saying like how much he means to them and everything. And then at one point he's like, oh, if you guys thought this was a 45-minute meet and greet, it's not. And that's where my hands started breaking. So because he hadn't even started talking at that point. And then he gives a shout out to everybody who didn't ask a question. And he's like, so my wife said, what time will you be home? And I was like, I don't know, an hour. And then he laughed, and then he said he trimmed his beard. And his wife's like, you just trimmed your beard because you're going to go talk to your fans? He's like, no, I trimmed it for you. And he's like, yeah, whatever. So it was only supposed to be 40 minutes. It was 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So then Mike's like, we will always talk about Rich and Devin, but Brad is a very humble human being. He's Mike's best friend, and we're all the lucky ones to be able to call Brad our friend. And then Brad says, without Mike, I couldn't do it. And he thanks Alan, Floyd, Marcel, and his wife for everything. And then they end with Brad and Mike were doing some really weird arm gestures, like a dance to kind of like end it off. And then it was just like a bunch of awkwardness because nobody wanted to leave the Zoom. And then eventually left it. So so it was a very interesting Zoom. And there was a lot of cool people on there, a lot of fun stories. Like a lot of people shared their stories of when they met them.
A lot of shit as well.
Yeah. So
that too.
Yes, a lot of poo discussion, but yeah. So no, it was actually a really cool meet and greet. I enjoyed that one. That was a good one. Had a lot of.
Well, thank you for sharing all the notes with us.
Yeah. So if there's any LFO stuff coming up in the future,
so they are doing some. He is touring with My 2K stuff, I believe, with O-Town. He has a couple of shows with O-Town coming up. They're weekend shows. I want to say July. Sorry, I don't have the dates up there, but yeah, you can look it up and find out that information.
Excellent.
Very thorough. Well done, Josiah.
No problemo.
All right. Thanks for taking a break with us, guys.
Until next time.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.